This is a segment we like to call Market Factors, where we talk about industry news stories and trends we're observing. Mostly it's an excuse to rag on bad decisions and argue with each other whether some new piece of tech is worth it. So the first one here, I think you shared this, right? This women's advocacy group calling on Apple, Google. No, let me start that again. A women's advocacy group calls on Apple and Google to, that's a terribly phrased news headline. Apple, comma, Google. Apple and Google. Just put the word and. Why are you looking for character count? Women's advocacy group calls on Apple and Google to drop X and Grok from their app stores. And there's this coalition of women's group, tech watchdogs, and holy shit.
A coalition of women's groups, tech watchdogs, and progressive activists is calling on Google and Apple to remove social media site X and its related chatbot Grok from their app stores. In open letters published on Wednesday, the coalition accused the Elon Musk owned apps of generating illegal content that violates both companies' terms of service. The push, whose backers include the feminist group Ultraviolet, the National Organization for Women, the liberal group Move On, and the parent advocacy group Parents Together Action, is aimed at piling pressure on Musk after Grok began generating sexually charged, degrading, or violent images of women and children. Interesting.
Sexually charged is certainly a way to say every woman who posts a photo on X for the past couple of weeks, there's some chud replying saying, put her in a bikini, take her top off. Like, it's disgusting what it was enabled to do, and they didn't really actually do anything about it. First, Elon tried to just make it a feature of like paying subscribers. So then it turned it into, cool, it's a child porn bot that you get to pay for. Like, it's not good what Grok has been doing.
I thought I'd seen an update on this that they were counter-suing.
Of course he was. Of course he was. He has to double down. Meanwhile, Indonesia and Malaysia have blocked because they're not, like, Indonesia and Malaysia are not playing around with this kind of thing. They never are with anything. They tried to do an update and basically gave themselves a bunch of outs saying, well, if you phrase it cleverly, we'll still do it. And it's like, yeah, because fundamentally this model was developed by a pedophile and wants to do this. Like, what the fuck? This is just anything having to do with Elon Musk is bad, and this one is super bad. Like, of course, fucking Mecha Hitler Grok that he programmed into talking about the Jews and white genocide and how persecuted the South African white man was. I mean, Grok is just everything terrible about Elon Musk rolled into a chatbot. And of course, the next thing it was going to do was make child porn and undress women. Like, the guy rolled out the first version of Grok image and video generation by having an attractive young woman turn to the camera and say, I love you, because Elon Musk has never had an attractive woman turn to him and say, I love you. And the only way he was going to get that satisfaction was having some fucking digital bot do it for him. Losers generating loser shit. And how are not more people not upset about this? How is this not on the nightly news every fucking hour? I'm swearing a lot. I should figure out how to dial that back.
I did read an update that they are dropping that feature from Grok.
Okay,
but I'm with you. How is that not? Obviously, you and I see this news all the time and we tune in, but the rest of the world, right? It's like you say, how are there not more women sort of saying, like, really? This is what A was you sort of created for? So you could take our clothes off? Hey, how's about just be a nice guy, buy us dinner, and you get the same thing?
But that's the thing, is like a little bit more
Yeah.
than that usually.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think part of this has to be Elon Musk is the world's richest person, and all of our media is controlled by these 7 next richest people, and they don't want to piss each other off. And this isn't on your nightly news because Sinclair and Clear Channel, who own your local nightly news station, don't want to anger the billionaires and don't want to piss off litigious Elon Musk. But at some point, it's not like for a while there, he was trying to argue like it's a slippery slope to free speech. It's like, no, it's illegal. Like what you're doing to minors. These are young women and girls. No, there's no slippery slope here. Bad. Anyways, release the Epstein files, because all of these people are monsters who should be in jail and make me wish I believed in hell.
Is there anything in the Epstein files? By the time
Pam Bondi gets done redacting all of them.
Yeah.
Although the last time the DOJ tried to redact them, they just highlighted the text black and didn't actually use the Adobe feature to redact it because Elon Musk cut their Adobe licenses as part of Doge, and they lost the actual redaction feature, and so they couldn't redact it. But they're now 30 days over the statutory requirement to release all of the Epstein files, and no one in Congress seems to care because we don't really have a Congress anymore. It's cool living in this country right now.
It's a good job. It's a good job the Venezuela operation went as well as it did, because it would have been the first time in American history since you were all savages that an American could have died without it actually technically a war, right? A conflict that didn't go through Congress, that didn't go through any.
I'm not sure Mike Johnson would have changed his mind. 30 Americans could have died. 80 at least Venezuelans died, including a grandmother who was randomly bombed in her civilian building. But sure, we can call the Venezuelan operation a success. But I think American soldiers could have died, and Mike Johnson and these Republicans would have been like, well, the base loves Trump, and we can't upset the base because we're little cuck cowards.
No, you're right. They would have. But I think it would have, certainly for people who are in tracking American politics and history, that would have been a big deal, right? Like for us, like, wow. For the first
we
time,
cross Rubicons every day. Every day is a new Rubicon that we cross, and no one seems to be doing anything about it. It's terrifying.
Yeah, the Greenland thing's still up there, right?
I mean, it is wild that we spent 80 years not doing great things to do this, but we did have a world order in which we were the police of the sea, and by being the police of the sea, we basically allowed global free trade to flourish and make a bunch of people rich. And genuinely, you can talk about the good or the bad of capitalism and the American military interventions in Central and South America and all over the world. There's plenty of things America has done terribly for the last 80 years. But the world ran on the dollar. All of Europe was on our side. We were effectively, the Cold War never turned hot. Like a bunch of this kind of stuff actually gave us a relative period of stability. And then a black guy was president and trans people were allowed to exist. And so the Republicans had to blow up the entire world and elect Trump, who in like 372 days is on the verge of tearing down 80 years of global not peace and blah, 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 but like we're fully imploding NATO. We're fully imploding the Western alliances over fucking Greenland because this dummy saw a Mercator projected and thinks it's bigger than Africa. And this is what happens when you let people with small dicks in power. They're just constantly obsessed with size.
So they did put some countermeasures in place, though, right? So they took care of it.
What countermeasures? Who? Europe? They sent a couple of boats and they added one more dog sled to Greenland?
No, sorry, I meant X, the Grok.
I mean, did they? Because sure, I don't have the latest link if they did, but the California Attorney General was looking into it, and Elon then said, I'm not aware of any naked underage images generated by Grok. And it's like, okay, you're splitting hairs. You put a 5-year-old in a bikini. Did she need to be naked for it to be fucking horrifying? No, man. But the fact that you're not aware of it sounds like nonsense. But also, okay, they tell it not to. We just talked about, and I don't know what the order of things are, but I think we already released the episode where we talked about OpenAI was like, well, we tried harder and GPT-5 is going to let you kill yourself less often. It's now just down to 9% that it ignores us and still tells you how to kill yourself. And it's like, okay, cool. They told Grok, please stop generating these images. Is 9% of the time Grok going to ignore that command and still generate the image? Like fundamentally, what is the purpose of this technology?
Yeah, the extra layer of protection, updates to the terms and conditions, right? So you can technically be banned, I guess. But what happens with people like me who want to see themselves in a bikini?
Put a bikini on?
Oh, yeah, I never thought of that.
Right, yeah.
All right.
No, that's the thing I'm saying. Is like
genuinely,
right, like genuinely, what is the point of, there was a video of somebody the other day who was using an AI model and you could see his original video and then in a picture-in-picture, the video that the AI was generating, and he was cycling through, like, very hard to tell he wasn't the cast members of Stranger Things, and it's reacting as he's moving and speaking and doing things, and it's terrifying. And what is the purpose of that technology? The purpose of the technology is to not have to pay actors, but you get to use their likeness. The purpose of that technology is to trick voters into thinking their candidate said something. Like no one can name a positive use of this technology, and that seems problematic and bad. And there is no federal requirement to watermark it or do anything so we can verify that it's bullshit. Like, someone described to me why it's good that we are chugging through states worth of water, polluting minority communities with the data centers, reversing climate change improvements, all to generate a video. For what purpose? An image of a child that you put into a bikini. What the fuck is wrong with you? What is the goal of this technology?
Yeah, you know, if you do that, I mean, this is the United States. You can end up on the registry just for peeing in the street, right? So if you do this,
right,
you should definitely go on. You should definitely go on the registry. Right? End of story.
You should be going to your neighbors and introducing that you've moved to the neighborhood. Like, yeah, it is. It's not.
I mean, that's probably a fair. That's probably a fair punishment, right? Like, cool, you're going on the registry, right? Like,
I mean, it'd be nice that the people that it was done to, like, this is my problem with all law enforcement, and I get it because thought crime is a bad idea, but like, cool, you did the bad thing. The woman you did to saw herself put into a bikini against her will in her replies, and now you go on the sex offender registry. Cool. It'd be nice if you couldn't have done that to her in the first place. Like, some of these things are after the fact, and it's like, yeah, we have laws to prevent you get a DUI and you get your driver's license taken away from you. Fuck that. All cars should come with breathalyzers, and the cars should not turn on unless you can blow into the thing and have it. Like, why do we do the after the fact punishments? Do the ahead of the time thing. There are
that's interesting.
That's the slippery slope. That's the slippery slope. Is like, oh, it's thought crimes. I'm not even allowed to think about that woman wearing a bikini. And it's like, no. It's the technology that's bad. We can do some of these things ahead of time.
You just reminded me. Actually, I was reading about this a few years ago. I think it was Germany. It was like 2015. It would have been about 10 years ago. Germany is one of the few countries who treats pedophiles before they offend. So,
I mean, that seems bad. How do you know that? I don't love that.
No, I know, but they apparently had amazing results, right?
I mean,
people who wanted help, because in their own minds, they're technically people who want to have a relationship with a child, and
if
so
the person
a lot of
volunteers,
them sought help. Yeah,
sure, yes. If you seek help, I am fine with that. But I don't love there are no more trans people because we went ahead and prevented them from ever becoming trans. That seems bad, actually. So please don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not sure what the results were, but I remember at the time reading it, and, you know, it was a trial, whatever. It was, that they were testing out new methods, but I thought it was a fairly positive. I'll have to dig it out for a future episode, but I thought it was fairly received positively as
sure.
Hey, you know,
a
some
proactive step by the
treatment.
person. Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
They should still be sent to the island, but, you know, it's like, well done, you know.
Right. All right.
You do mention in here, you pasted the must denies awareness of Grok, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is the California Attorney General opens the investigation and then he claims he isn't aware, but his wording is very specific. He's, quote, not aware of any naked underage images generated by Grok. And it's like, okay, that's not really, I don't know. I don't know what's the Giancarlo TikTok where he's like, you know, you sound like an idiot because you're describing that technically pedophilia is when they're under 6. It's a biophilia when they're under 16 or whatever. And it's like, you can't say that without sounding like a pedophile. Right, exactly.
Technically.
Elon Musk being like, technically, they weren't naked. It's like, well, okay, but I don't think maybe that is the legal requirement, but that's not the moral requirement. And that's not what the requirement should be for freaking operating a giant platform.
I love that skit he does. That it's technically
right.
Not it's a pedophile.
And then they tried to release the Epstein files, and all of the Republican Party was like, well, technically, the girls on the Epstein Island were 16, so it's not that bad.
In America, technically, you can still marry a girl who's what, 13.
Not in all of the states, but there are far too many states. A horrifying number of states allow child marriage, and they've been resistant to getting rid of that for some reason. Maybe it's because Denny Hastert, the Republican Speaker of the House who was charged with pedophilia. Should I go down the list of the pedophiles in the Republican Party? I'm sure there's some in the Democratic Party, but it does seem like Republicans have a tendency to cover up for themselves.
Not Lindsey Graham.
No, Lady G, as he is affectionately known in the male escort community of Washington, D.C., does not have that problem. He likes them young, but legal. And male. That's right. Lindsey Graham.
Jeez.
Not quite a pedophile.
If you're listening.
Just in the closet.
Yeah, so, sorry, I'm still thinking, technically.
Just a self-loathing homophobe.
Yeah. That's interesting.
This is an article from Futurism.com. Mark Zuckerberg basically giving up on Metaverse after renaming entire company Meta. From the article, all told, the company has lost more than $70 billion since the beginning of 2021 on its enormous long-term VR bet, a staggering sum that has left investors itchy and unimpressed, as Zuckerberg has failed to convince the public of the high-fidelity virtual spaces he long insisted we'd be choosing to spend most of our time in. Now, as Bloomberg reports, the company's executives are eyeing gigantic budget cuts as high as 30% for the teams responsible for its Meta Horizon Worlds product and Quest VR headset. Another nail in the coffin for Zuckerberg's obsession that has been a major thorn in the sides of investors for years now. Layoffs could start as soon as January, and as of this recording, they just happened, I believe. But final decisions have yet to be made. I think they just happened. And several thoughts. One, having not ever had the headset, but having had the Microsoft Teams virtual space attempt to compete with Metaverse. What a stupid fucking idea. And only Mark Zuckerberg could throw away $70 billion, a sum that could solve homelessness in the United States for some significant portion of time, on an idea that anyone who had 3 brain cells to rub together knew was not ready now, and I'm not convinced ever will be, but for certain was not ready now. And literally renamed his company. He renamed his entire company over this stupid fucking idea. And yeah, of course they're dialing back on it, and he's still allowed to be in charge, and he'll go burn another $100 billion being bad at AI. I only failing up for this fucker.
What was the metaverse, though? Was it like Horizon? Is that like Horizon is...
It was frickin' Second Life with the Quest VR headset. Like, it was never a thing. No one wanted it.
Yeah, because I've been in a Horizon Worlds a few times, and
they could never tell you what it was supposed to be. Exactly. Yeah.
It's you get in there and you hear the squeaky 9-year-old kid, and you honestly, it's like going to daycare. It's like going to daycare.
But it was
just
never
a bunch of kids.
What was it supposed to be? Had it been like, maybe if he'd figured out a way to be like, the next Destiny 3 had launched in the metaverse, and you were, joining the lobby surrounded by all of the other players and doing that kind of thing. But his pilot demo was walking through a virtual grocery store, adding virtual milk to your virtual cart. And it was just one of those, it goes back to the thing that Apple finally had to give up on, which was skeuomorphism. The thing that's in the real world, they tried to replicate on the digital device. And it's a failure because once you're on the digital device, you start swiping. Well, you don't swipe in real life. And so at some point, the physical metaphor of ripping a piece of paper off of the notepad stops working because you're not ripping anything, and that's not the gesture you're doing. So at some point, he could have rolled out, had any actual smart people worked at Facebook at the time, they absolutely could have rolled out a brand new virtual shopping experience that fully rethought what it meant to shop. You could have had gestures and new interesting things, and they didn't. They recreated the real world in the virtual world, and it felt clunky and bad. And of course it was going to. Like, genuinely, go back and watch, I don't remember when it was, like 2004, 2006, the very first Surface demos from Microsoft. They were the first, I don't know if they were the first, but they were the first time I saw the pinch to zoom and like the instant clarity and of course the thing you would do on a table to zoom in on the screen is to pull it apart. No one had ever done that before, but of course it instantly made sense, and Apple doubled down on that and made all of their pinch and all of their gestures on the iPhone, and they were just logical. When you looked at the screen, you're like, of course that's what you would do. And they didn't come up with that for the metaverse. There was no instant like, of course I would swipe through the virtual aisles in front of me, and of course I would like Minority Report my way through something. They had none of that. And like, just that's my answer to Meta. Of course. Of course it was a failure. You didn't do a single damn thing that was interesting. And then you all looked like idiots without legs under the table as you sat there in your virtual meeting looking for like fucking wee me's. Ugh, just idiots, top to bottom.
Should I go in Horizon this week and record like a few minutes so we can include
We can have
link
like
to it for
B-roll.
YouTube?
Yeah. Let's do B-roll as part of the YouTube. Yeah.
So,
Which, by the way,
I'll
people
jump
listening to
in
the
there.
podcast, we're doing more of that on YouTube. We're trying to put additional context and things like that. So watch us on YouTube. There's my YouTube plug for the episode.
Come see me in my virtual home in Horizon, which I've spent many hours building.
But that's the other thing is, like, I think they
interesting.
were trying to, like, maybe, when was this? 2021? So it was right in the height of COVID and work from home. And maybe people thought, like you and I have talked about, the idea of could you personally, having missed the what it was like being in an office, would there have been some benefit to the idea that we're all in the virtual space and you can hear out of your right ear the conversation going on down the table, and it makes you turn and go and actually pay attention to what your colleagues are talking about? I can see why maybe there was a hint of something as work from home really took off because of COVID. But it was, I don't know, the hardware was too clunky. It was just never going to, but it was, that's what I'm saying. It was too early in some parts. It was too early in some parts.
Yeah. Because, like, they're shutting down Horizons, but, like, the ability to do team meetings, like, through third-party software in there is still there, right?
Yeah, but they're dialing down Quest VR. So Quest VR is not getting invested in. So are they going to assume someone else is actually handling the hardware? Which, again, why software companies feel like they need to get involved in the hardware game. You should let, Steam is a good example of a company that, I mean, they started off as software, so maybe they're a bad example, but Microsoft should just give up on the Xbox and let Steam do all of their hardware work. Why is Facebook trying to be in the hardware business with Quest? I guess they acquired Quest, but still, like, it's goofy. That's what I'm saying is, sure, maybe there's parts of this where in 5 years you can wear it as glasses and it's not a giant heavy headset. And I don't see an internet connection issues and the person buffering next to you in the chair. I don't know. I'm not totally convinced of this, but maybe there was a thing there. But yeah, it was not going to become a consumer thing. That's why Apple gave up on their VR headset.
Yeah, my understanding, though, from this is that they're giving up on their whole metaverse, but not VR tech, right? Like, because Horizon was huge, right? Like, I went in there the other day, and a lot of the kids actually did create some cool content that you can make a game, right? I can go in and paintball with a bunch of people in some custom arena that some kid built. At Halloween, people were trick-or-treating and going through haunted houses, and there was mechanics and triggers, and you could do stuff, So the premise was there. It's just there's not enough people in VR now, right? To even
exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. There's not a billion people in there.
And if the primary people using it were under 18, or one of the key use cases for it was kids and teenagers and people playing video games, then it turns into I'm trying to think of what's the good example, the comparison example, but like your kids need a new pair of pants every 6 months because they're growing. The size of their head and the shape of the VR headset you're not going to buy 6 VR headsets as they get older. So there is also just a form factor problem that had some of this going into it. And yeah, the adoption, it might feel busy because all 10,000 of you are always in there, but that's not a business that's going to make money.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It just feels too early and too stupid.
Well, mixed reality and augmented reality is also becoming like.
I mean, they've got their Ray-Ban glasses.
Meta
has those Ray-Ban glasses.
Yeah, that's becoming much more intriguing because even now with soccer coaching, right? Like I have a device that records the game and then can do AI analysis on player movement and stuff like that. But I'd actually rather be at times
wearing the glasses. Sure.
Yeah. Like they turn around, I see number 22, I'm like player details, touch the ball 15 times, because I can stream the camera feed, and I could stream it to my glasses and, the results and the metrics and stuff like that. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for today is like as a coach is show me the real-time analytics on this game, right? The heat map, which the pros get access to. You see them on the highlights today. You see them looking at the little iPads and
Right.
watching replays, but they've also got the statistics and the heat maps and all the interesting stuff. That's where, I still love VR gaming because I can sit in a Formula One car and an X-Wing fighter, but I can see where MR and AR are much more ready for boring people, non-gamers.
I was going to say, I struggle to know what... I would agree that the concept of AR seems cool. I don't know what the real-world application would be that I would actually want. And my two problems with it: one, perverts want to wear it because it can film people and take photos of people without them realizing it. And we had this debate many months ago that if you're going to film me, there better be some visual indication that you're doing it. And two, they already are doing weird things today, right? So have you seen the clip of during an interview, the interviewer now makes you share your screen so that they can make sure you're not using ChatGPT to give you the answers to the interview? So now is it going to get into weird situations of well, take the glasses off, because how do I know that, I'm actually talking to you and not to your AI bot who's just feeding you a script of things to say? Or any number of reasons why, I worry about social interactions. I worry about interviews. I worry about a bunch of things where, am I talking to the person or am I talking to the script that they're reading? That feels weird. I don't know that I like that.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see space. I've actually started looking at the Ray-Bans, but I am waiting for a couple more features. But yeah, it's an interesting space.
I am hoping that we can bully everybody out of the Meta glasses and the Ray-Bans and all of that kind of stuff the same way we killed Google Glass. I don't know. No. We killed Google Glass.
No, it's a weird. I actually put in my notes for the show. It's just it's a different evolutionary curve than everything else, because I remember the quality of VR in '95, and it was good. At Sega World, I left that place and was like, "Wow, what did I just see?" It wasn't like 1985, the ZX Spectrum 48K. It was good quality VR, and then it was gone from '95 until 2015, 2016 comes around, right? But I think it'll go away, and then I just think think about it, right? When the brain chips are in, right, I'm gonna fly again, right? Right? The minute they can start writing to the brain and convincing the brain that I'm actually physically doing something instead of the haptic vest, maybe a couple of 100 years, but they're gonna do it. Right? We're not gonna be cavemen in 200 years. We're gonna be I will have Wi-Fi, right?
Good luck with that. Have fun.
Hopefully babies are born with that stuff. We could just figure out how to get it in there before the baby comes out. Well, then you can ask them questions like, "Hey, how's things going in there? It's a little bit tight. What's mommy doing?"
Nope, not the way I want human existence to evolve. All right, this is an article from TechCrunch. Google removes AI overviews for certain medical queries. So from the TechCrunch article, following an investigation by The Guardian that found Google AI overviews offering misleading information in response to certain health-related queries, the company appears to have removed the AI overviews for some of those queries. For example, The Guardian initially reported that when users asked, quote, "What is the normal range for liver blood tests?" they would be presented with numbers that did not account for factors such as nationality, sex, ethnicity, or age, potentially leading them to think their results were healthy when they were not. Now, The Guardian says AI overviews have been removed from the results for what is the normal range for liver blood tests and what is the normal range for liver function tests. However, it found that variations on those queries, such as LFT reference range or LFT test reference range, could still lead to AI-generated summaries. And I wanted to highlight this because it's just one of those, please don't use AI, but especially don't use AI to replace a human being who has many, many years of training and expertise, and the AI does not. It is bad. Of course, it's not going to give you the context. Of course, you shouldn't ask Google. What are you doing? Ugh.
Look, right? When I used bleach on my poison ivy, I knew it wasn't the right thing to do, right? If you're stupid.
Hold up. Go back, say that sentence again, but say more words.
But I know it was stupid, right? To put the bleach on, it was stupid.
Who told you to do the bleach?
It was a builder. He was like, if you really want to get rid of it and you don't mind the pain, It's like, just bleach it. And
But they're used to, this is what I'm saying, is the enshittification of Google search. You would have been taken to, now WebMD wasn't the best, but you'd have been taken to like a Mayo Clinic page. And the Mayo Clinic page would have told you all of the caveats. It might have given you a chart with different options based on the range. Like there used to be okay versions of this. And the Mayo Clinic page would have said, but talk to your doctor. You need to get the actual, like instead, Google is trying to be too smart and trying to know the answer. And so it's actually depriving you of the important context that using your brain would have accomplished. And how would I get to the Mayo Clinic anymore? How would I know the website to go to? Google wants to cheat me out of that and just be the answer. It's bad.
No, but you're kind of letting Reddit off the hook there. I'm sorry. People have been going to Reddit for medical advice, which is crazy to me because the people answering are often not medical, like researchers, doctors. So Reddit was kind of a door open to that, right? And what's that? The question site?
Quora.
Is that you said?
Quora.
So, I mean, people were asking dumb questions of dumb people back then too.
Sure, but at least they were human beings and not making money off of your ignorance. You being stupid and going to a group of other stupid people who every once in a while would have an actual expert who would respond to something, but you being stupid with other stupid people doesn't cost anyone anything. Google makes money off of your naivete and gets to do that to you. Now, the other part of this that you can't ignore is in a capitalist system where health insurance is the mechanism via which you get to talk to a doctor. Of course, people are turning to free alternatives to understand what's going on because the health insurance industry has ruined your ability to get access to this information. So part of this is also the fault of the health insurance industry. Medicare for all. Thank you.
And remember, not that all doctors, but I was misdiagnosed for 6 months, right? Actually longer, 9 months, misdiagnosed with a lump, right? It's like, what could cause a lump? You bang your head, there's a lump. It's all right, okay, but it's not my head, right? It's right in the middle of my leg. It's a hematoma. It's like, you're a doctor, dude. Are you gonna check? Where's your hematoma checker?
Sure. There are plenty of examples where doctors could do better. Ask Black women about their maternal mortality rate. So I'm not defending doctors 100%, but your statistical likelihood to get a better answer from a human who went to training is higher than the AI, who is absolutely going to not do a good job about this.
Well, now if you went to Dr. Death, AI didn't kill anyone.
What the fuck is Dr. Death?
I mean, go on the internet and like any of those nurses with Munchausen's who are killing babies. I mean, look, this is how sick the medical industry is, right? Who's the nurse who was giving people insulin, and instead of calling the police, the hospitals just got rid of him, gave him a good reference so that they didn't have to deal with the fact that he was murdering people?
Sure.
What? Come on. We deserve this, Kevin. We deserve every bit of this. We do.
No.
It's our detention.
We can ask for better. We can demand better. The reason the hospital did that is because they were stuck in a system that... No. Yes. Bad people make plenty of bad choices. You are whataboutisming the 0.001% of the cases.
No, I'm not about whataboutism. I'm just saying humans, we're not you talk about AI we took something really perfect and we fucked it up. It's like, no, we didn't. We took something really the medical industry. 10 years ago, somebody proposed to the medical industry, hey, how's about the insurance companies and us? We fund a pool, and the closer you guys get to recommended diagnoses, the more you take from the pool. And hospitals were like, we make more money getting it wrong. Why would we do this? No. The medical industry, I don't think it's a good example to use because America's is very, very questionable, I think.
Right,
ethically.
But you're complaining about someone who was bleeding all over the carpet and saying, well, they were bleeding all over the carpet, so the fact that the AI showed up and started stabbing them, they were already bleeding all over the carpet. And I'm saying, yes, the AI stabbing them is bad, and it'd be nice if they weren't bleeding all over the carpet. They're bleeding all over the carpet because the original stab wound from capitalism. This metaphor has gone off the rails. But my point is...
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, all of the problems you're identifying are downstream of the capitalist hellscape we're stuck in, and I don't need AI making it worse.
It's just I worry we get to use AI as a scapegoat and our focal point for all of our outrage that should have been there for everybody. Hence my comment in one of the previous segments. Where's the outrage, right? Like, there's this new outrage now, but it's like, hey, you know what? Like, as somebody who's married to a diabetic from, genetic version type 1, it's like, look, could they cure these people? Would they ever even bother to try to come up with a cure? Like, will they make too much money? I mean, dude, what a weird world we live in.
People who tend to complain about those original problems are also the ones complaining about AI, and the people
Nah.
who are okay.
As soon as someone said whataboutism, that was a great way to say, yeah, I haven't done the fucking thing for 30 years about it, but now AI's here. Humans, we've been doing worse.
Simply not true.
And if you're dumb enough to go to AI and rely on the answers and not even get a second opinion, you deserve what you get, right? Everybody, all listeners, you should know, you should not be getting your diagnosis from AI.
Sure. And this is the fundamental conservative liberal break.
Nah, whataboutism has become that term for, it's like, now we have justified getting upset. It's like, we should always have been justified getting upset. We didn't.
But that's ahistoric. Bernie Sanders in 2016 ran on Medicare for all. Plenty of people have been complaining about the healthcare system for many, many decades. And those same people who were complaining about the healthcare system are now complaining about AI. Meanwhile, the people who are pro AI are the people who are pro the shitty healthcare system because it makes them money.
No.
Yes.
That's a generalization. You might say whataboutism. I can say that's a generalization. It's not the same people. And if it is, that's still not enough of you for someone like me to be able to say, okay, there is true outrage, right? Like, we need more people to be outraged, right? Like
but you don't get to dismiss the people who have been outraged and say you don't exist and you don't count. We absolutely have been there the entire time.
I just say, are you fighting a losing battle there? Because if you can't get regular Trump's in power, right? So we know there are people like we will never reach with any kind of logic.
But we also know that there are people who we will reach because we've deprogrammed MAGA people by actually exposing them to the truth. No,
in 2 generations, will we still have educated advocates?
In the current situation, I'm not going to go defeatism with you. That's fine. We'll move on to the next episode.
I'm not saying defeatism. I don't think it's the end because I want to evolve. And I think a long time we end up in the right place. And I'm just saying,
right.
Maybe let's,
I'd like to not.
We have to break some eggs. It's like China, right? Everyone's outraged with China for human rights. And I'm like, yeah, but they're just doing it now. And we had our time, right? So we use the argument of we're more civilized now, so we shouldn't be doing that. It's like, okay. So we got to all get to where we are doing whatever the hell we wanted. But China does it, and now it's suddenly like outrage. And I don't know. It feels weird to me. It always feels weird. It feels very hypocritical. Like, don't snort coke, kids. Like, Dad, you snort coke, right? It just feels weird. I will never get used to the idea of that kind of double standard. So, certainly from the British and Americans, right? The West. I always feel weird with that. Not that I'm justifying people dying. I feel odd that we're not. It's like the reparations, right? Like, how many Americans really want to pay for things that happened in the past, right? Like, nobody. Like, the people who were affected, they want to. But then if you go to the regular everyday Joe, do they even know what I'd be talking about if I was talking about, like, reparations for the past? I don't know if a lot of people would. They don't care. And I agree with you. We need them to care, but This is why it is good, because it will be empathetic to you in the future. It will fight, right?
No, because it'll be programmed by people like Elon Musk, who turned Grok with like 5 lines of code into Mecha Hitler.
Yeah, but like...
You're talking about AGI, a mythical thing that has no chance of coming anytime soon.
No. But when it comes, oh boy.
No. It'll wipe us all off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll merge with it.
It won't want to merge with us. It will not want to merge with us. I wouldn't.
I'm trying to figure out which way exactly the merging is happening,
Who's the peg and who's the hole?
USB-D?
Exactly.
That was good. Exactly. I like that.
That was good. There you go. All I'll say to counter you is look at the people of Minnesota. The people of Minnesota are random people who don't get involved in any of this kind of stuff. But when the Gestapo shows up and starts patrolling their streets and abducting people off the street, random Minnesotans start actually turning out and caring. So I have hope.
I mean, she got shot in the face, though, right? Like, she got shot in the
Yeah.
face. You know, I mean, I feel like any city in the United States, anywhere,
But that hasn't stopped any of them. That's what I'm saying. They are all still going out there. They're going out there in 0-degree temperature after she got shot in the face. People can be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, the shot in the face thing, that one's a weird one. You know, yeah, that's a weird one. I've seen the
How
videos.
is that a
It's
weird one? There's zero weirdness about it. He's a psychopath who should be happy if the compromised position is jail, not death by mob. He's a murderer. There is zero gray area on shooting a woman who was not trying to hit him, did not hit him, and was clearly backing out of her own driveway to go somewhere. There is zero weird ones about.
Yeah, I didn't mean weird in the sense that it should or should not have happened. It's a weird one in that, I mean, I get it, she's in a car, but 3 times up high?
No, it's a full-on murder. He's a small-dicked loser who needs to feel strong over other people and has been itching to murder someone for 12 years and finally got the chance. No, that's closed, open and shut case. Murder.
I will say this. As much as I agree with it does not look good for this guy, right?
Uh-huh.
I cannot imagine putting my foot down when the cops, do you know what I mean? Like, I get nervous in Florida.
You got 2 conflicting directions. Stop, and then everyone else was telling her to go, and so she turned away at 5 miles an hour. You're telling me his 12 years of training didn't know what every police officer knows, which is you don't put yourself in front of a car ever.
Dude.
And then she turns away from you and you shoot her through the passenger window? No, this is a murder.
No, he was on, was it? No, he was on the same side as her. Unless she was driving a European car.
No, he was on the driver's side. Sorry, I didn't mean passenger car. I meant passenger side. I meant
the driver's
door,
window. Yeah.
driver's window. Yeah,
That's why I thought it was unusual. Like the distance
it's a
he was
straight
from
out.
her. It's a
Yeah,
point
it's an
blank
execution.
shot.
It was an execution. He wanted to kill someone that day, and so he killed someone that day.
Even in the car, and I don't know what cops are trained, whether they're trained for hit markers, like, hey, like blah, 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 like aim for that. She still could have died, but I would have, if it had been like, yeah, he hit her in the lungs and she died, that would have been like, okay, like he's a cop and made a bad decision, da-da-da-da. But getting shot 3 times, like getting shot in the face, like,
yeah, no,
I don't know.
He's a murderer.
Maybe he didn't aim.
Yeah.
Maybe he closed his eyes.
Exactly who you want to have out on the street with a gun.
But in 2 months, it'll all be quiet again, right? And we'll just go back to business.
They seem to want to ramp up in Philadelphia next, although I wish them luck dealing with Philly residents. 5 times as big as Minneapolis and 30 times as mean. Not sure.
Philly's a tough place.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Philly on the...
No idea. A bunch of places have been coming up as possible places for ICE to go next. I don't know. I need someone to something.
Do you think if they changed their name to Nice, people would be more apt to work with them?
Not making jokes out of ICE.
Making a joke. No, I know somebody who works for ICE.
I hope they die a painful death soon.
His wife is really attractive.
Well, you'll have a chance with her, hopefully, if the revolution comes.
Like, oh, yeah, I hear your husband's gone.
All right, exactly. Sorry you were married to a fascist. I'm less so.
Yeah. We'll see. I'll have to keep tabs on that one.
All right. This one is a story I found on CNET. So coming out of CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Show, which I thought was canceled, but maybe is back or was virtual or something. But LG has a laundry folding home robot that made its debut at CES. We saw it in action. And so it's a report from CNET about going to watch this LG. And it does more than fold laundry, apparently. It was baking something, and it's your home Cylon who will definitely not turn against you and cause a revolution. So the quote from the article is, folding laundry went well but slowly. Using careful movements, the robot's arms lifted the sides of the towel, folding them over several times, which took about 30 seconds in total for one towel, and then placed it aside ready for the next towel. Cloyd also fetched a drink. Well, sort of. When it was asked to fetch a drink, the nearby fridge opened and the Wait, when it was asked to fetch a drink, the nearby fridge opened and the robot fetched a jug of milk. Did the robot open? What passive tense is this? Did the robot open the fridge? Or did the fridge also have a robot inside that opened it? Okay. When it was asked to fetch a drink, the nearby fridge opened and the robot fetched a jug of milk, placing it on the counter but notably not pouring it into a glass. As the saying goes, you can lead a robot to milk, but you can't make it pour. And if you watch the video of the robot slowly, painfully fumbling to fold we'll play the video right now. If you watch on YouTube, it's this technology ain't there. This is not ready. I don't have to worry about a Cylon uprising anytime soon because this guy couldn't wipe his ass if he tried to. It's not there. This is embarrassing.
I mean, in reality, they really only need to shoot straight, right?
I mean, sure, yes, for the Cylon uprising, yes.
Yeah, they just need to be they just got to be better than stormtroopers. That's it, right? So, yeah, it does a really shitty job. I don't really, I mean, also, like, folding laundry, just, what strange.
But no, actually, of all of the things, why is technology trying to replace the manufacturing worker? Why is technology trying to replace the artist? Why is technology doing all of this stuff? I'm absolutely fully on board with Rosie the Robot coming and doing all of the bullshit. I don't want to dust. I don't want to vacuum. I don't want to do my laundry. This absolutely would be great.
You're going to have loads of time. You're going to
have because I'm going to be unemployed and not have anything to do. Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to get really good at folding the laundry.
That might be one of the 3 things that you have to do every day.
Right, exactly. This is
fold your laundry, find food,
and then
right?
Go to the Doge mines and mine some Bitcoin for Elon.
Yeah. Was impressed though with the Hyundai Atlas.
This video you linked me didn't show a damn thing. It stood in the corner of the screen and then had B-roll playing that you have no idea is real. Yeah. This video doesn't show shit.
Well, it doesn't show a time code, but
how are you impressed?
I mean, he does things like, I mean, dude, it's
allegedly
they're going to do it, right? Like these things are going to be working factory floors doing stupid shit for a while. But like, I never really thought about the ability for the torso to rotate and the legs to just work forwards and backwards. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, it makes total sense. Right, yeah. It's why, like, in The Matrix, the machines being squids made total sense. It's like, yeah, of course you should be a squid. You got 40 arms that can go do whatever you need to do. Like, of course, human shape is stupid. It's a miracle we are in the position in the food chain that we are.
So when we try to sneak up and do the old neck break on the robot, it ain't going to work, man. It's going to be like, I saw you 2 minutes ago, right? That'll be interesting. That's going to be a time, right, where
that's kids the reason working in their basements, go to Philly.
Kids working in their basements all of a sudden come out and they're protesting against the AI robots, the government, the Trump bots. Yep. And then you get all these sort of homegrown Minneapolis AI sort of versions, just homemade with the Raspberry Pi and shit. That's a movie. That's a book. So, yeah, so we might see a lot more.
I'm just saying this video you linked to Hyundai doesn't actually show it doing anything, and we are in a funding hype cycle, and until I actually see the thing, like, did you see that amazing video? Oh, I'll see if I can find the video of the Russian robot that they tried to introduce on stage, and it fully just tripped and face planted, and they had to drag it away and hurriedly drop the curtain behind it. Oh, if I can find that link, I'll link it right now. That is delightful. Robots just aren't there. Boston, Cambridge, what's the robot? Cambridge, not Analytica. That's the Facebook election stealing company. Boston Robotics, Cambridge Robotics. There's that, the company that I'm talking about has little murder dogs. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I probably applied there a few times when I lived up there. I always was interested in getting in there.
Those robots are terrifying. Those robots can dance and do gymnastics and do a bunch of creepy things.
They already use those on the factory floor in Hyundai, right?
I don't know. I'm just saying the video you linked, that guy looks clunky. That guy looks like a 1984 after-school special robot that's going to smile at the mop-top kid and tell him he did a good job at his homework.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they use those dog-like things already. I mean,
I'm stunned the dog-like things aren't patrolling the streets of Minneapolis. Like, those things are terrifying. There's a Black Mirror episode about that.
That, we fight all the time, but like, to me, in the Western world, and I'll just UK and the US, the fact that we haven't spent more time making sure that a college girl, whatever girl, gets home safely Put those fucking things on the streets now. Like one per street. Every private company within a mile of that street, you are contributing to a robot dog that is going to be a deterrent. And yeah, sure, both the victim and the perpetrator will die until we fix the tech. But
Right. Yeah.
that self-exploding robot
Uh-huh.
dog
Uh-huh.
is going to save a lot of people from
The police aren't
living.
interested in solving crime anymore. Yeah, exactly. The police don't solve crime. They are especially not interested in protecting women. The CEOs want the women to go to Epstein's Island, not to be protected from their fellow bros who want to do terrible things to them. No one in the chain of people who would put those dogs on the street and program to protect women have an interest in protecting women. They are all bad men. So I don't see that plan happening for you anytime soon.
I know. That's
That's the
the
problem.
biggest crime right now with AI and all of this robotics and progress is there's some pretty serious issues right now that I think could, if the private sector cared enough, that they could come up with
No,
some
right.
deterrent solutions that reduce, maybe don't
The private
completely.
sector is full of people who are pissed that they can't slap their secretary on the ass anymore. So they are not going to do things that are good for the rest of us.
No, I know. Going back to Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia, basically, what did they sort of say? They put a policy in place. Private sector, if you're building a building, then X% of the total cost of the project has to be donated to the city in artwork, right? Which is why Philadelphia has all the very visual sort of art downtown. How they did that deal, right? That's the kind of innovation that you
Sure.
need, right? Is the city
Sure.
saying, hey, if you want to be here, you could be here, but you're going to pay more, right?
Right.
It's like I heard a great there was an initiative in one of the states which was taxing drug dealers. It's anonymous, so they could have an anonymous account where they would pay their taxes, and the whole premise was, look, you can go to prison for drug dealing, but you're going to do more time for tax evasion, right? And they reduced a lot of the state deficit, right? Does it work? I don't know, but people trying shit it is or not is kind of what bugs me every day is like, and it kind of goes to what you're saying, like you're a protester and right? Like people trying shit is which is why I don't hate the conservative government as much as I don't like Trump and a lot of his cronies. I do like that this government is actually not willing to accept the same old, same old. Unfortunately, it doesn't help.
Name a single situation where that is true and that it is designed to accomplish a positive thing for the American people and not for the 17 billionaires. So if you're willing to accept change, even though that change has no intent of helping you or any one of the 330 million people who live here, then no, I reject the idea of change for the sake of change. Do I wish we could have a Democrat who actually wanted to try liberal policies and not compromise half bullshit? We currently have Mitt Romney's Obamacare because Obama had to use the Republican template for healthcare reform because they didn't want to actually try something truly new and radical. No, nothing and not a single thing Trump has done has been a change that you would consider good. It's like saying, well, you know what I did is there are no more bugs in the software anymore because I deleted all of the code. It's a change. Aren't you happy that I tried something? I did make a change. It was to delete all of the repositories. Praise me for the change. No, I shan't. I shan't be doing that. That's not a change that I'm going to support. So,
I
no.
mean, hasn't he been accused recently over the last couple of years of being too liberal in some of his policies?
He doesn't have policies. He has victims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays a round of Uno and then, gets excited about something he thought about during the game, but
Right. No.
there was something there was an article I was reading last week where it sounded more like socialism than conservative sort of values.
There was something that he was demanding that business leaders do, and I was like, I'm sure the
Yeah.
Republican business leaders love that you've demanded that they do. I don't remember what it was. But this is the problem is it doesn't matter what Trump says. Trump is a blowhard who's surrounded by racist, bigoted psychopaths who hate human beings and will do what they want to do as long as they can convince him it's a good idea. And Mike Johnson's not going to pass a thing that has any whiff of socialism. So I guess maybe if he does something accidentally through executive order because his goal was to punish somebody who didn't give him $1 million, and then all you really have to do is give him $1 million and he'll back off. So no.
Yeah. It was CNN who published the article, right? What they say, it was about a week ago. Trump suddenly sounds a lot like a progressive Democrat when it comes to business.
I mean, that's an easy thing to say. The media is full of fucking morons who are easily distracted by shiny things. Tell me the actual thing that he did and whether it was actual or it's a thing he said. The media is too stupid to differentiate between a thing Trump says and a thing Trump does. Trump gets a lot of media coverage because he's very good at playing the media by saying things. He never needs to actually do any of the things. He just gets the bump and people hear it and think it's true, but it's not. So no, we're not going to just say maybe he accidentally did something good and progressive. Him saying that doesn't count.
Do you think because he actually, I mean, whether you like him or not, the executive orders, he actually does a lot by just skipping the law, right? So when he says it, do you think the corporations take him more seriously? Because it was the defense contracts, right? He was talking about blocking like entities, and he was talking about the amount of compensation the CEOs and executives receive, right? And how it should be relative to the success of their contract and the quality of the contract. So that seems pretty good.
That's a side effect of him feeling cheated by contractors and him screwing people out of ever getting paid for their construction work. That's a side effect of him being a cheapskate. And all you have to do is bribe him with $1 million for the ballroom and he'll forget about that. So no, he gets zero credit for being corrupt and using this as leverage for better corruption. And this is what he's good at. He makes it sound good and reasonable. Oh, they have to, only if their government contract succeeds do I let them have a bonus unless they bribe me. Like, no, this is what he does. He convinces people that he's doing things that sound good, and they never are. They are self-dealing, always.
Institutional investors in single-family homes?
A terrible idea. What you need is to add more risk to an already inflated bubble.
No, he wants to boot them out.
I'm sure there's some reason that Jared Kushner has some new .com that's going to take over for them. Like you can't convince me that there isn't some Trump self-dealing reason for one of these things. And if it has a temporary positive side effect, cool. It never ends well for people other than people whose last name is Trump.
Yeah, I think it's Senator Warren. Is Senator Warren? She's still alive.
I cannot imagine Liz Warren from Massachusetts is supporting a Trump policy. But sure,
who
knows?
No.
Weirder
She's
things.
been advocating for this for years.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, yes,
Senator
it's
Warren.
terrible that Zillow and all of those, yeah, I'm sure it's Liz Warren, that, Zillow owns 400,000 houses. Like, there are terrible parts of housing problems, but our housing problem is supply. We simply need to build more houses. The problem is not that we need to have different owners of the houses. No one can afford the house. So the problem is houses are too expensive, and people who own houses, painfully guard that wealth in ways that are bad for the rest of everybody else. And your house shouldn't be an asset that you need to suddenly get a 30-turn whatever return on. Housing is a whole topic at some point.
Yeah, it's interesting. Although a lot of the experts, I don't know who they are, but there's a lot of, it's questionable as to whether booting out the investors from that market is actually a positive anyway, right? Like it's a weird, it's like anything else in economics. Yeah, it's
right.
It's like
if no one can afford the house, then right.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.